All right, welcome to Real Estate Success. I'm your host, Mena Badros, here today with Jennifer Mack. Jennifer, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
For sure. Hey, Jennifer, I'd love for people to kind of get to know who you are before we dive into real estate business. Without mentioning any professional accomplishments, can you tell people who you are?
Let's see. Okay. So I am a mom of two, 12 and 16. I am a wife. I've been married for about 22 years. I'm an Army brat, so grew up in that military environment. I went to three high schools in 4 years. I mean, I've lived everywhere. Went to a German-speaking preschool where I was the only, American in there. When we lived over in Germany, and so really been thrust into a lot of different environments because of that. I graduated from UT Austin. I do have an MBA, so kind of bring that business background to my profession. I love to work out. I love to lift weights. I'm in a cooking club. That that kind of sums it up for me without talking about real
Awesome. But that's a lot of stuff. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate
estate.
that. Fast forward right now, what is it that you are doing in real estate? And then we'll go and kind of start from the journey from beginning.
Yeah, so right now I am located in Fairfax, Virginia. I do have a small team. There's about seven of us, and we service the Washington, D.C. metro area. So I actually have a geographical model for my team where, as my business grew, it was important to me to make sure that I could provide the same level of service to my clients, even as they were moving around the district. It's common for people to kind of be in DC and then maybe come out to the suburbs or maybe vice versa. And I wanted to make sure I could provide the same level of service to my clients, but obviously I couldn't be in all those places. So I have team members that are kind of strategically placed around the DC area so that we can make sure that we can serve all of our clients and their referrals. So we do Virginia, Maryland, DC, and one of my team members is about to be licensed in West Virginia. So we have a really big coverage area.
Awesome. I love it. What did you do before getting into real estate?
So I've been in real estate for 19 years. So it's been a while since I had another job. But before real estate, I actually worked in the high tech software industry in Austin, Texas. So when I graduated with my MBA, started working at tech startups. And that was back in the heyday where money was flowing. There were investors that were really pumping a lot of money into those startups. It was a very fun and exciting time to be in that business in Austin, Texas. And I did that for about 5 years before real estate.
Okay. And why did you get into real estate?
So my husband was going to law school at University of Texas, and I thought he would get a regular law firm job. We would maybe stay in Austin or move to Houston or Dallas, like most of his friends were doing. And instead, he surprised the heck out of me and told me that he was going to join the Army and be a JAG
Wow.
officer. And you could have knocked me over. I was so surprised. Even though I grew up in that environment, I did not think that that was going to be my life. And
Yeah.
we were stationed in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where Fort Bragg is. And needless to say, at that time, there were no software companies in Fayetteville. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I need to have a career change. And my husband was deploying. We didn't have any kids. I really could do anything that I wanted to. I had a ton of freedom, fortunately. And we had just bought our first home there. And I thought I could do a better job than that guy did. Let me go ahead and get my license. And that's what I did. And that was 19 years ago.
Awesome. You kind of took us what you're doing now and why did you get started? Can you kind of take us through the evolution? How did your career evolve from that starting point to where it is now?
Yeah. So when I graduated from real estate school, I knew that I had no clue how to actually be a real estate agent because we all know that what they teach you in real estate school has nothing to do with what you actually need to do to be a sales professional. And so I looked through the newspaper because back in the day, that's how you found jobs. And a real estate agent had posted for, she needed a licensed assistant. And so I applied with her, and her name is Donna Clayton Lloyd. She's my mentor. She is still in real estate in Fayetteville. She was a very big thinker, very entrepreneurial. She was the first agent in her office that had a licensed assistant. They didn't know where to put me because none of the offices had two desks. So we started working from her home. And her father founded Putt Putt Golf. So you can imagine the type of brain that
Oh,
she had. And she just thought about things differently. And she taught me everything that I know. We sold like 100 homes in the 2 years that I worked with her. And I got to go on listing appointments, go meet appraisers, go on home inspections, work with buyers. She taught me everything in that 2 years. And then when we moved after that, it was like I was an agent with like 10 years of experience because she had put me in so many different positions and I had learned so much. So then we went out to Colorado. We were stationed there. Then I wanted to move back to Virginia because I wanted to have another baby and I wanted to be close to my parents because I needed help. And we moved back to Virginia, and I worked in a kind of admin position for a team as their operations manager for a while. And then about 12 years ago, I got my Virginia license and pretty much started a team right away because I had a brand new baby. I had people that wanted to work with me, and I knew that I couldn't do it all and I needed help. So I hired my sister-in-law to be my showing agent. And she helped me show houses, worked with our buyers. And then my team just kind of evolved from there over the years. And now, 12 years later, have a director of operations, a VA, transaction coordinator, a stager, a runner. A lot of those are part-time positions so that I can scale my business according to, how many listings I have. And then 6 agents working with me.
okay. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mhm.
A broker told me the other day, he said, agents, sometimes they're pretty good agents, but they're bad employers, right?
Yes.
So there's definitely a difference, different hats and different roles, right, between an agent and a team leader and maybe other roles. Can you kind of go into a little bit of difference, you as an agent, you as a team leader, what were some of the biggest shifts you had to make?
Well, I always say it's so interesting because realtors are expected to be good at so many things, right?
Yeah.
We're expected to be, not just be able to negotiate contracts and, put pictures in MLS and show homes and like we are expected to be good at like 100 things. And I think that when I see agents who decide to have a team, sometimes they honestly have no idea what they're doing, and many times they don't actually like it. They start a team because they feel like they're supposed to, or they just have more business than they can handle, and they actually don't enjoy the day to day duties that you have to do as a team leader with managing people, holding them accountable, and all of that. And so I think that people really need to think very carefully about how you choose to take the trajectory of your business, because at the end of the day, we all want to be happy, right? We want to wake up excited for what we're doing, not drained. We want to be energized. And so you have to be really careful that if you don't have those managerial skills or inclinations, you can work on acquiring them, of course, through education, training, getting a mentor. And then you can decide, yes, this is for me, or you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Let me try a different model, like a production partner, showing agent. What can I do to build my business, but yet not have to manage a team? And there's plenty of ways to do that, especially now. I mean, there's just so many great models that we see that people can follow.
Yeah, you mentioned something there that kind of stuck out to me. Well, a lot of great things, but one thing is that, agents become drained, right? And a
Yes.
lot of agents get into this business thinking that they're going to have the flexibility and freedom of time, and which is all attainable, right? But we all know a lot of times we're also at the mercy of our clients, right? And that our clients need. So, work-life balance can kind of be frustrating for some if they don't
Mhm.
really have it under control or have boundaries. I know that's a topic you're passionate about.
Mhm.
So, what advice do you give agents? Maybe who are getting into that, they're having more business than they can handle. They're feeling drained. Yes, maybe money's coming in, but it's not really the lifestyle they envisioned coming into this business.
Yeah, I think that we always need to take a step back and have perspective on our life and say, wait a second. Yes, I can be blessed with all of this business and all these people that want to work with me, but it doesn't mean that I need to be run ragged. It doesn't mean that I need to say yes to everyone. It doesn't mean that I'm going to work 24/7. It doesn't mean that I'm going to allow people to cross boundaries that they should not be crossing. And remember that we are in control. We have one life. We are responsible for those boundaries that we set, what we allow to take our energy, the type of business and client that we say yes to. we are responsible. We get to decide. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. They forget that they're the ones who get to make that decision. Nobody, we are independent contractors. We are business owners, and no one else is allowed to do that to us. And so I tell people, make sure that you are taking stock of your day and your activities. Go back and look through your calendar. This is one of the reasons why I'm very into writing everything down that you did that day. Even so, if you have blank spaces in your calendar, try to think back, how did I fill that 30 minutes? How did I fill that hour? And go in and write it in there. And at the end of the day, you can do a calendar audit where you go back through your day and you say, what was I excited about? Like, I was excited to get on today with you. This did not feel draining to me. This wasn't something that I was dreading. I was excited about it, right? There's other things that maybe I did today where I didn't quite feel that way. There might be other things that I'm even more excited about. So go back and look through your day and say, what was I excited about? And what did I look at? And I went, ugh, and it was going to be something that drained me. And figure out how to make it so that as much of your day is spent doing things that give you energy and excitement as possible. And when people ask me, what is the definition of success? What is my definition? I say my definition of success is looking back at my day and saying that I spent as much of it as possible in my, zone of genius, or whatever you want to call it, where I feel good and happy and like I am contributing the most. And I think that more agents should do that, and then determine what activities should they really try to offload to somebody else or say no to, so that overall they can have a happy life and feel really good about how they're spending their time.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I think a lot of agents come into business and they just mirror what they see, which obviously is a great model for success, modeling other success. But it doesn't mean that everybody else is living your goals, right? And a lot of times we might chase something because someone else is having success with it, and then it's not something we enjoy. It's not something we like. It might not really be aligned with our goals. So I think I'm even like kind of learning and being more
Mm-hmm.
mindful of just being on my own journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not anybody else's journey. Do you come across a lot of those folks, especially as you're speaking about work-life balance, about their journey and not really trying to live somebody else's real estate life?
Yeah, definitely. Success looks different to every person. And I think that, yes, it's wonderful that we're exposed to agents who have massive businesses and are selling thousands of homes every year and have a staff of 100 people and, all of this, or a solo agent who did 140 deals last year or whatever it is. Yes, it's good. But at the same time, comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
And when we see that all the time, and especially with social media, it's just in your face, all of these success stories. And it is really hard to not compare yourself and to just be satisfied with whatever your ideal life looks like. So sometimes I'm coaching agents to scale up their business, and sometimes I'm coaching agents to scale down their business and say, do you want to be working 60 hours a week? Because you could work 30 hours a week and still have a good income and still, get a lot of satisfaction. What would you do with that extra 30 hours? Do you want to give it a try and see how it feels? You can always go back, right? We know that. If we're a great real estate agent, the business is always going to be there. We can go right back to it if we want to. But again, realizing that you are in charge of your destiny, and we all need to build the business how we want it to be, because life is short. Tomorrow's not promised. And our kids get one mom, one dad, or whatever your family structure looks like. Our parents want to spend time with us. Our siblings want to spend time with us. We need to have hobbies. I mean, when I speak to real estate agents, the majority of the room will raise their hand and admit they can't think of a hobby that they have. That's not good, right?
Yeah.
We need to have something going on besides real estate, I think. To be a well-rounded, interesting person, we need to have those outlets, And so I actually coach people on how to come up with a hobby because they just can't think of anything. But I think that it's really important that we are multidimensional in our life and how we spend our time.
Yeah, I mean, I ask realtors sometimes in classes, even icebreakers as they introduce themselves, some things outside of real estate, and some people are like, all I do is work, work and kids. So
Yep.
I definitely get that. How did you get into speaking in the real estate space?
I mean, I've always taught classes, at brokerages that I've been at, or led, mastermind groups or whatever. But it was always on different topics about how to write your most competitive offer, or how to, prepare for a listing appointment, team building, lead generation. Those were always the topics that I spoke on. And then about a year and a half ago, I was asked to speak on a panel. And one of the questions that they asked on the panel was about work-life balance. And I'm type A. I had prepared for the panel. I knew that was going to be one of the questions. So I just jotted down a list of things that came to my mind. And it was very off the cuff. I just wrote it down. There was not an order or anything. And when it got to me, when the presenter got to me, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to read my list. And I said, this may seem random. I didn't really care. I just read my whole list. And I'm looking out at people in the audience, and there's tears in their eyes. They're clapping at the end. I was like approached by so many people in the hallway afterwards, people with questions. I was getting all these messages afterwards. People were sharing things with me, very like personal details about their life, and telling me how much the tips I shared had affected them. And I thought, oh gosh, there's clearly a need for this type of conversation, because you can go to certain real estate events and it will not be mentioned the entire time.
Of course.
Right? It's getting better. We are now going to more events where work-life balance, health, these are topics that are starting to be talked about more. But back in the day, we didn't talk about this stuff. And when I saw the response from people, especially women, I will say, or especially mothers, but not only, but a lot of them were mothers, I thought, okay, people need help, and if I can help one person, then I want to do that. So I kind of formulated a class, I guess, on it. And like I spoke at a retreat a couple weeks ago, a women's wellness retreat, and like a, just kind of very informal discussion, and just trying to give people some tips, easy things they can implement. In fact, today I posted in that Facebook group for the retreat, and I said, is there anything anyone's implemented in the last 2 weeks? And it's been awesome today to read all the responses of how people's lives have changed by implementing maybe just one or two of I think I have like 40 tips, but one or two of them can make a big difference. And I just get a ton of it's very gratifying for me to see that. So if that's what people want me to talk about and not talk about real estate, okay, that's fine. I just want to help people.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I definitely share a lot of that with you. I think personal growth and personal development is vital, right? As real estate professionals, especially as solo entrepreneurs or independent contractors. There is a lot that we do, a lot that we go through, and it's bigger than real estate. Yes, we have to know the X's and O's of real estate, but at the end of the day, real estate supports our life, so we have to focus on that. A few questions that kind of come to mind. So, you've been an agent, a team leader, a speaker in the real estate space. What role in real estate do you enjoy the most, and maybe why?
I love one-on-one coaching sessions with my agents. And I got to have one of them this morning with a new agent on my team, trying to figure out how to get that, footprint in her neighborhood. How does she make herself known as a realtor versus, a mom, or, she was a stay-at-home mom for years. I love strategizing with people, coming up with great ideas, working with them to figure out how to implement them, coming up with an accountability plan so that the agent, I'm putting it in their hands to circle back to me with their homework, basically from our coaching session, put their own spin on the ideas that we've come up with, and then come back to me and tell me how they're going to implement it and be excited about that. That's my absolute favorite part of this business. And it's really why I do love having a team, and I've scaled back my personal production tremendously. My goal every year is to do fewer and fewer personal deals and have my agents be doing more percentage of the business. Because, you talk to a lot of team leaders who have impressive numbers, but when you ask them what percentage of that business was their personal business versus the team, many times it's, 80% the team leader or 60% the team leader. So they kind of have a team, but if they stepped out, they wouldn't be able to cover their expenses.
Right.
So I really like helping to develop the agents on my team so that I can step back and spend more time doing what I love to be doing, which is helping them grow. I get way more excited when my agents have a closing than when I do. I have a closing and I don't even tell anybody. When the agents have a
Yeah.
closing, I mean, man, we are celebrating. I am so excited for them. Or when they get a listing signed, I get way more satisfaction out of that. And that's how I know that I'm doing what I really, really, really want to be doing, because it's just so gratifying to me.
That's awesome. Really quick, what does accountability plan look like? Is it something that you have in place, or is it very dependent on the personality and the goals of the person?
Yeah, I mean, accountability comes in a few different ways. Certainly, they have projects they're working on. For example, with the agent I was talking to this morning, it was surrounding, starting a Facebook group, starting a weekly tip segment on Instagram, different things like that, that she has steps in place that I'm holding her accountable for. But I think also you need to get more granular than that and really get real about the number of real estate related conversations that you're having each week, because we know that that's really what's going to lead to closings, right? So in our team meetings that we have every week, the agents have to report their real estate related conversations. And then of course their appointments, their closings, they say that out loud. And I think it's really important to need to say that out loud to somebody, whether it's your coach, an accountability partner, your team, whoever it is. Let's be real about how many conversations we're having, because that is absolutely going to mirror the number of closings that we have. And if we're not achieving our goals, we're probably not talking to enough people. So I think on a weekly basis, we need to be logging that and be realistic about how many we're getting and whether that number needs to change or not. So I think that accountability is really, really important, especially for agents newer in the business who may think that it's going to be easier than what it actually is, because our jobs are so difficult. They really are.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, Back to work-life balance. I know you said you have a list of 40, but if someone, kind of really felt that they have no work-life balance and they just want, you know, three things to focus on, or the core three things that they kind of need to get right to then, get it, creating a better work-life balance, what would you say are those three things?
Well, the tips are all very specific items. They're not big buckets, but if I were to pick a few that I think can be really impactful, one of them would be to know your hourly rate and to delegate tasks. So everyone should know what their hourly rate is. And then I talked before about the calendar audit. Go to your calendar through the entire week, weekends, nights included. What did I spend time on that I could have paid someone else to do for substantially less than what my hourly rate is? And of those tasks, what do I want to hold on to versus what can I delegate? For example, I try to cook dinner pretty much every night. I think it's really important for our kids to see that cooking is the normal way to eat, right? It's not normal to DoorDash every meal, go to a
Yeah.
restaurant every single night. We want to be cooking, I think. And so I don't want to delegate that task out, even though it's not a $500 an hour task. It's important to me as a mother for my children to see me or my husband cook, to help us so that they know that that's really the way to do it as far as your budget and things like that. So that doesn't count, but there's a lot of tasks that we're all doing every single week that we should not be doing. So looking at your calendar, deciding, start with a couple things, delegate that out, and then keep going. I know people who have delegated out 95% of what they used to do, and they have such freedom and they're making so much more money because now they're spending that time either doing the work tasks they should be doing or spending it with their family or whatever, being by themselves. Who cares? It's up to them.
Right.
So that's a really important one. I would say go to bed early. Nothing good happens after 9 p.m. That's another one of my big tips. And I learned that from Adam Hergenrother. I always want to credit him. He's a great realtor up in Vermont. Nothing good happens after 9 p.m. Get yourself in bed, get up early, start your day, go to the gym. I work out every single day, lift weights, and you will waste so much less time. Like, people talk about these TV shows all the time. I'm like, I don't have one TV show I'm watching, right? If it's that great, okay, maybe they'll convince me to watch a couple episodes. but I think the average person watches about 3 hours of TV a day and spends 3 hours
Oh,
a
wow.
day on social media. Well, what the heck, right? So if you can cut that habit out, I think that it will be huge for you. And then let's see what else. Go to therapy. Am I allowed to cuss? Go to therapy and figure your crap out. How about that? That's a big one. So we have so many things holding us back in our life because we have traumatic events in our childhood. And it might be something that was not that big of a thing, but we don't know how it affects us until we go and talk to somebody, get it out. I'm a huge, huge fan of therapy. I think that everybody should be in it. It's such a gift you can give to your kids, to your spouse, to your family, to your team. So I like to normalize that, and I talk about it a lot because I think it's so important. So those are just 3 of the 40 tips.
Awesome. They're great tips. I'm taking notes myself, and hopefully everyone listening well. Few more questions if you have about 2 or 3 minutes here.
Yeah.
All right. So I know, I mean, you have a wealth of knowledge and skills in the real estate space. You've been with a few brokerages. Why did you decide to kind of come on board with our company EXP?
Yeah, so like you said, I've been at a couple different companies. I was at Keller Williams for a lot of my career, 2 different brokerages, and I give that brokerage so much credit as far as a lot of the education that I received. A lot of it related to work-life balance and things like that. I received a lot of education there about that. I was also at an independent brokerage, mid-size, about 1,000 agents. And what I found is that at that brokerage, it got to where I was kind of always one of the top 3 teams on the leaderboard. Didn't have a lot of camaraderie with the other team leaders, especially, once COVID started and everybody was working from home. I would have, high level business questions and I didn't know who to call, and I thought, this is not good. I need to have people on speed dial who I can call. And then I'm happy to take their calls if I can be of any assistance. So I thought I want to go to a big company that has people who have businesses that I can strive for. And so I researched a bunch of companies, and at the end of the day, EXP was the only one that I interviewed with. I didn't see another one that made sense to go speak with. This was 2 years ago. And I loved seeing the types of businesses and types of lives, more importantly, that a lot of the people had that I was going to be associated with at this company. Of course, it didn't hurt, the low cap, the stock. I have 6-figure stock portfolio now with them 2 years later, which I'm proud of. My revenue share more than covers my 2 mortgages. So there were a lot of advantages, to me, besides the fact that I would be getting all this great training and exposure to these other types of agents. Although that was definitely the main reason for me, was that versus anything financial.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. What's next for you?
So I'm definitely continuing to grow my team. We brought 3 agents on this week that are just super talented, very just interesting people that I've loved getting to know. I'm so excited to help them grow their business. I am, attracting people to my organization. I would like to get into maybe some other business ventures, beyond real estate, which I feel like our brokerage really encourages everyone to do. And we have so many fantastic models of that. And I just want to become more efficient with my time. I have a 16-year-old. She's only going to be living at the house for probably 2 more years. I want to spend time with her. And so I just feel like the more efficient I can get with everything, the more, time I can spend with her before she runs off to do her own thing. And so, I think more family time is something that, should be a goal for everybody, right? My parents are getting older. They live in my neighborhood. I want to be able to run over there daily, right? And say hi and give them a hug and, let them know I love them. So, all that is, I can see it all coming together.
That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
3 rapid fire questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Advice for brand new agents.
Keep track of every single real estate related conversation you have. If you keep track of every single lead, you will have so much business you won't even know what to do. Put them in your system, whatever that system is, I don't care. Follow up with them systematically until they buy or die, and you will have a great business.
Okay. Advice for seasoned agents who may be ready to scale.
Determine what you're best at. know your strengths. If you need to hire a coach to help you understand that, hire a coach. I pay so many people in my life to help me with things. I have like 10 coaches. Figure out what you love, what you're good at, what gives you energy, and structure your business as you scale it. Structure it so that that's what you can spend most of your time in. Hire people to do the things that you're not good at or that you don't like doing.
Awesome. That's great advice. I have to continue working on that myself. Um,
Me too.
and if you if you had one big message to share from a stage to real estate professionals, what would it be?
Um, we don't have as many emergencies in real estate as agents act like we do.
Mm.
We are not brain surgeons. We are helping people with a very important transaction, but at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do to affect the outcome. So we want to do our jobs in a very professional, complete way, provide excellent service. But I think we also need to not put our clients' lives above ours. We need to have that overall perspective to just remain healthy, happy. Real estate has one of the highest divorce rates. We have to keep perspective on what's really important and not allow those temporary emergencies to overshadow what's really important in our lives.
Wow, I did not know that real estate professionals had one of the highest divorce rates.
Mhm.
Very, very interesting to know.
Yep.
Well, Jennifer, this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing everything, sharing about your business, about your life, about your family. My best wishes to you on all of those fronts. And this was a wealth of knowledge. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to getting to know you better.
Likewise. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy this. Take notes. Go back and listen to it. And unapplied knowledge is simply entertainment. So take something and actually apply it so you can see some results. Take care.